Hello everyone, yes, it's me, Gar, from Ctrl+Alt+Debate. As you can probably tell, Kraken's not with us today. I kind of made a custom video for today just to go over the Final Fantasy Tactics remake, or remaster rather, that's coming out in September. The reason I didn't, Kraken didn't come on the show, I mean, I didn't ask him to be fair, but I sent him a video of this and his response was nothing. But I also don't, I am so hyped about this game, I can understand it's not his, necessarily his cup of tea, or he didn't spend a lot of time on it like I did on the PlayStation 1 back in the day. So I just thought I'd come on here and ramble for, I don't know however long, I don't know how long this video will be, but I thought I'd give my thoughts on it and my background on this game, having played it when it actually came out in 1997. I am actually that old, yeah. I was a teenager at the time, about 15, 16, 14, 15, 16, something around that. And I just loved the game. I mean, the story, the political intrigue. It's one of my favorite games of all time, with one of the best stories of all time. You know, I'm not gonna, no spoilers in this. I'm not really gonna go into details of the story. This is more about discussion about what they've done with the remaster, the information we've got about it. There's probably loads of videos doing this, but I'm just so excited about this. I just couldn't not say something. So yeah, here I am, and yeah, we're gonna just quickly do a recap for anyone watching this doesn't know. Final Fantasy Tactics is obviously a tactical RPG, or JRPG for that matter, brought out in the late 90s. It was, at the time, pretty revolutionary. There was obviously Tactics Ogre that came before it, and that's kind of made way for this game. It is a masterpiece in more ways than one. Anyone that hasn't played it, you know, I would highly recommend it. The game has so many amazing moments in it. It's quite a hard game as well, I will say that. If you're not familiar with tactical games, it's quite savage. You really need to spend a lot of time leveling. It's sort of similar in the sort of way that a game like Disgaea, for example, requires you to do a lot of leveling. But this game has a wide variety of jobs that you can do, which I love in Final Fantasy. I always loved this, particularly how they did it in Tactics, with the variety of different classes you could play and utilize across the game. As you can see on some of the background images, they've actually now added a tree for you know, all of the different job classes, which I think is great for people that aren't aware on how you unlock these, because in the original game I think you had to spend a lot of time just trying things out, trying to see what would unlock the classes. Now they've got a much more clearer view of that now. They've obviously touched up the graphics. It doesn't look immensely better, but it looks like very sharp in terms of, I'm sure on a 4K TV, like the pixels will look very detailed, and obviously the backgrounds that are in the games are will be sort of much sharper. They look much sharper from the images shown here. But I mean, just to sort of get to, this is going to be reaching a new sort of generation of gamer. Obviously it's out on mobile and stuff like that, but let's be honest, like, mobile gamers are too busy playing gacha or like other really popular games. They're in that, you know, Final Fantasy Tactics, sure, it's going to be played by some people, but this will really bring it to the mainstream, actively bring it onto all consoles, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, where it's going to reach a lot of people that probably never heard or even have seen this game. And it's a gem. I hope this will breathe life into the game even more than it did, because it's kind of a cult classic. It didn't get as much love as sort of the mainline games, and it's terribly sad, because this has arguably more content than any of the other Final Fantasies of the time. There's a lot of, you know, characters to unlock. There's a lot of weapons, gear, you know, levels, skills. The JP system in this was excellent. Used to be able, you can get skills for each class, and then you basically play the game to get extra JP. Every time you do an action, you get JP. That JP can then be spent to purchase skills on your class, which can then be mixed and matched with other classes. So you could have Squire and a Chemist, just to the basic ones, to sort of thing. You could take skills from the Chemist class, switch from Squire to Chemist, and then apply those Squire skills into your Chemist class, and vice versa. You could also just pretty much do that across all of the classes, and you could mix those skills together by applying like an ability in that would give you access to those. So it's really a huge opportunity for people that like strategy to be able to try different styles for their party, and to level up different classes and stuff. It is also, I understand from my readings, that the game actually was intended to make you overpowered if you're willing to put the time in. It was actually part of the system, which I think was awesome, because at the start you feel quite weak, not super weak, but if you try and go ahead too far, you'll get slapped up real bad. Any old players that have played this game that are watching this will know the Wheatgraph fight. I think anyone that ever went into that Wheatgraph fight the first time and hadn't properly leveled up were definitely in for a tough time. I remember the first time I did that, I got absolutely whooped, and I had to go back to a save prior to going in there, and I had to go away and spend time leveling up skills, getting best equipment for the characters, trying to mix and match some new skills. Basically, doing that stuff it's a bit of a grind, but it's a fun grind, because you're constantly getting gil and things to purchase. There's never a dull moment in any of the random encounters either. But the story is compelling, so much so that you don't really mind doing these periods of leveling, because you're excited about the next bit of the story that comes out. And it's just great. I'm just so, I know I've said this already, but I am so hyped about this game. I mean, I wish it was coming out straight away, but we're gonna have to wait till September, is it 30th or something? It's a long time to wait, but somehow I will manage. But I had to just make this short video just to say, anyone that watches this or is intrigued by Final Fantasy Tactics or has thought about it, definitely get it. The only reason you would not want to get this is if you're not a fan of old school political intrigue, kind of medieval style political intrigue. If you find that kind of thing boring, then this is probably not for you. It's a very in-depth struggle between political powers. If you like Game of Thrones, this is kind of like the original Game of Thrones in that manner. There's a lot of people betraying people and backstabbing, and lots of amazing things that happen throughout the story that are kind of oh shit moments. So they have plenty of that. So if you don't like that kind of thing, or you find that disinteresting, then definitely not. The other aspect is obviously the strategy aspect of the game. It requires a lot of time, a lot of effort. Sort of thing, you sit in the menus for a while after each fight, changing gear, going to town, speaking to the outfitters, checking if there's any sort of anything going on in the tavern. I remember you got to spend time doing that to access sending people away on quests and stuff. All this kind of thing is a lot of sort of micromanagement, and also making sure that you upgrade all your characters' skills with the JP that you've accrued from random encounters or from battles. There is also a lot of gear you can steal from enemies, especially ones in mainline story encounters. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but there's one piece of gear specifically that's one of the best in the game, and it can only be acquired from one single person. So definitely, if you're that sort of person who wants to get hold of everything, you're going to want to probably look that up before you go ahead and play through. But if you're sort of person who doesn't care, then that's fine too. But it's got loads of little secrets like that, which back in the day was a nightmare, because in 1997 the internet was in its infancy, and I do think Game FAQs was around. I can't really remember, but it might have been like early 2000s or very late 90s. But basically, up until that point, it was very difficult to get information about what's going on with the games. I do remember, like with Tactics, that I couldn't find information that I needed, or it was very difficult to get hold of. So I had to go on word of mouth and friends and people that played it or heard through the grapevine or read it in a magazine or something, you know, how to do certain things in order to get you know, end game content. And there is like a lot of end game content in this as well, particularly so if they enhance the game. They've said that the enhanced version, they've basically included the War of the Lions version, which is the original PSP port, I believe, but they said that they've included the graphics from PS1, because that was a lot of people's concerns, because no one really liked the PSP port of the graphics. So they've like utilized the PS1 graphics apparently, but they've added the War of the Lions like gameplay, so which is fine, because you know there was more content in that. But the enhanced version is kind of really open at the moment. Nobody really knows what's going to happen, but it supposedly has additional content. What this additional content is, nobody really knows at this point. I would love to know. You know, there's already a lot of end game content in the original. You know, you've got all of the Zodiac stones to acquire, and some of those require some really difficult fights that require you to do some serious grinding to get a lot of the necessary classes and skills. There's so many classes. I mean, as you can see in some of these video, there's a lot of different things going on. You got. I mean, the summoner, for instance, is awesome. You get access to all of the summons. You can use them to blast massive blocks on the screen. Those are like one of my favorite classes. But they've got crazy classes like mathematician. They've got the time mage. They've got like a lot of these classic ones as well. Knights, you know, dragoon, ninja, samurai, mime. I mean, I could go through them all, but you get the point that there's a lot of different classes to utilize, and that's half the fun, you know. But getting back onto the point, sorry, I got a bit off topic. The enhanced version, it will have something. Now, I can't imagine it's going to be something minor. It's going to be something to prolong the game. I doubt, unless they add like side quests and side stories to enhance the story and give us some insight into some of the things that we maybe don't see in the original game. That would be cool too. I'd really enjoy that. More side content would be awesome. I'm kind of hoping for something like end game though, so that we can, once you've, you know, blasted everything, then be something like some ultimate test or a couple of these other things. I would really like that. But I'll take whatever comes, you know. Either way, I'm gonna play it. So yeah, I don't really have that much more to say, other than I just wanted to put my voice out there to say how excited I am, and I know there's a big community behind this game. Well, when I say big, you know, relatively small compared to the bigger Final Fantasy titles, but there is a dedicated following for Tactics, and there's a lot of people like me. I've watched a few videos of some other people that are so overly hyped about this, and I happen to be one of those people, and wanted to join my voice into the you know, the community out there. I don't really have anything else to say, so I'll probably leave it there. Just on the last note, me and Kraken will be back with something. We are currently just waiting for there to be something too substantial to talk about. We don't want to waste your time talking about pointless subjects. I mean, I guess this is just me being a fanboy, basically. I'm just sitting here because I was just like, you know, I need to tell the internet my views on how much I love this game. And that's what I've done, so I'm happy. Until next time though, viewers, I hope this was interesting, and I hope that if anyone watches this, wants to play the game, my job is done, even if it's just one single person. So yeah, look forward to the release, 30th of September, and I will catch you guys on the next one, probably with Kraken. So see you then. Take care.